My beloved child, if your heart led you to this moment, do not rush away. Stay until the end, because this message is not about fear, it is about wisdom, hope, and the quiet work that God often does before we can understand it. Sometimes we pray for new blessings while holding tightly to old burdens. Sometimes we ask God to open a new door while refusing to step away from what keeps us trapped. But what if the greatest change God wants to make is not the one you have been expecting? Don't skip this moment. Something huge is waiting for you. Many people think God only removes difficult situations or obvious problems, yet His timing is often deeper than human understanding. He works in ways that gently prepare our hearts before He changes our circumstances. As you listen, allow yourself to reflect honestly. The answer may not be loud, but it may be exactly what your soul has needed to hear. There are seasons when every delay feels confusing, every closed door feels disappointing, and every unanswered prayer feels like silence. Yet those seasons can become the very place where faith grows stronger than fear. The person God may be leading you away from is not always someone outside your life. Sometimes it is the version of yourself that has been living with constant doubt, endless worry, or the belief that you will never change. Imagine what could happen if those old fears no longer controlled your decisions. Imagine waking up with peace instead of anxiety, with confidence instead of regret. Don't skip. Stay until the end. Something huge is waiting for you, because God's greatest work often begins where human expectations end. Before the breakthrough comes, God often prepares the heart that will receive it. He teaches patience before promotion, humility before victory, and trust before transformation. The surprise is not always found in who leaves your life, but in what no longer has power over you. Every burden surrendered to God creates room for fresh hope. Every fearful thought replaced with faith opens the door to new strength. As this message continues, an even deeper truth will unfold, one that may completely change the way you see your current season. Stay until the end. Don't skip. What seems like a loss today may become the beginning of the greatest blessing you never saw coming. A quiet change is already beginning, even if you cannot see it with your eyes. God rarely announces His greatest work with loud signs. Instead, He often moves in silence, shaping your path while you are still wondering why nothing seems to be happening. Stay until the end. Don't skip this message. Something huge is waiting for you. Think about the moments that made you stronger, wiser, and more faithful. Most of them began with confusion, not clarity. That is why you should never judge your season too quickly. God can use what feels like a setback to prepare you for a future you could never create on your own. The person being removed may not be someone standing beside you. It may be the fearful voice within that keeps whispering, "You are not enough." When that voice loses its power, everything around you begins to change. Have you noticed how fear often disguises itself as wisdom? It tells you not to try again, not to trust again, not to believe again. Yet God calls His children to walk by faith instead of fear. Every step of faith weakens the chains that once held you back. Every prayer spoken with sincerity builds courage that the world cannot explain. Don't skip. Stay until the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The breakthrough you have been praying for may begin with one simple decision. To let God replace fear with faith, bitterness with forgiveness, and doubt with confidence. That quiet transformation is more powerful than any sudden miracle because it changes the direction of your entire life. As this journey continues, another unexpected truth is about to unfold. The next step is not only about what God removes but also about what He lovingly places into your life when your heart is finally ready to receive it. New peace. New strength. New purpose. These gifts arrive when you stop chasing what God is asking you to release. Stay with this message because the next part reveals why the greatest blessing is often waiting on the other side of complete trust. Don't skip. Stay until the end. Something huge is waiting for you. There is another truth that many people never notice until they look back on their journey. God does not remove something meaningful simply to leave an empty space. He always has a purpose. When He closes one chapter, He is already preparing the next. Stay until the end. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. What feels like a delay today may actually be divine protection. What feels like an unanswered prayer may be God guiding you towards something greater than you imagined. Faith grows strongest when you continue trusting even before you understand the reason behind the waiting. Think about the weight you have been carrying. The endless worries. The pressure to have every answer. The fear of making the wrong decision. What if God is inviting you to lay those burdens down instead of carrying them alone? The person being removed may be the version of you that believes everything depends on your own strength. God never asked you to carry tomorrow before it arrives. He asks you to trust Him one step at a time. Don't skip this moment. Stay until the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Every prayer whispered in faith, every act of patience, and every choice to keep believing is shaping a future that you cannot yet see. Even when nothing appears to be changing, God is still working behind the scenes. The most surprising part of this message is still ahead. Soon you will discover why the greatest victories often begin with quiet surrender instead of loud success. God is preparing your heart before He places new opportunities in your hands. The peace you have been searching for is not far away. It begins the moment you trust His timing more than your own understanding. Hold on a little longer. Don't skip. Stay until the end. Something huge is waiting for you, and the next part will reveal why what God is bringing into your life is far greater than anything He asked you to leave behind. What comes next may be the very reason you were led to this message today. Stay until the end. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. There are moments when God allows you to stand at a crossroads where one path feels familiar and the other requires faith. The familiar path offers temporary comfort, but the path of faith leads to lasting peace. This is where many people hesitate. They wait until every question has an answer before taking the next step. Yet throughout life, God often asks us to trust Him before we can see the full picture. The greatest transformations rarely begin with certainty. They begin with a willing heart that says, "I will keep trusting even when I cannot see what comes next." Perhaps the greatest surprise is not that God is removing someone from your journey, but that He is removing everything that keeps you from becoming the person He created you to be. Slowly, fear loses its voice. Doubt loses its grip. Past disappointments no longer define your future. The heavy weight you have carried for so long begins to lift, and in its place comes a peace that cannot be explained by circumstances alone. Don't skip. Stay until the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Every challenge has been preparing you for this moment. Every delay has been strengthening your faith. Every unanswered question has been teaching you to rely on God's wisdom instead of your own understanding. As this message comes to a close, remember this truth: whenever life feels uncertain, God is never finished with your story. The chapters that seem confusing today may one day become the very testimony that gives hope to someone else. Keep walking in faith. Keep choosing hope over fear. Keep believing that God's timing is wiser than your own. Stay until the end of your journey with Him, because His plans are always filled with purpose, grace, and hope. And when you finally look back, you may discover that the greatest miracle was not simply what God removed from your life, it was the new heart, stronger faith, and deeper peace He lovingly built within you along the way. The final truth is often the one people never expect. Stay until the end. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. If you have listened this far, take a quiet moment and think about how many times you believed your story was over, only to discover that God was still writing a new chapter. That is His way. He specializes in bringing hope where people see endings, strength where hearts feel weak, and light where the road seems uncertain. The greatest surprise was never about identifying one specific person. It was about recognizing that God is always working to remove whatever keeps you from walking closely with Him. Sometimes it is fear. Sometimes it is pride. Sometimes it is the habit of believing that tomorrow can never be better than yesterday. But when those barriers begin to fall, your heart becomes ready for the blessings that have been waiting in God's perfect timing. As you move forward from this message, do not let temporary emotions make permanent decisions for your life. Keep praying even when the answer seems delayed. Keep showing kindness even when others fail to understand you. Keep trusting even when the path is unclear. Don't skip this truth. Stay until the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Every sunrise is another reminder that God has not forgotten your name. Every breath is evidence that His purpose for your life continues. The season you are living in today is not your final destination. It is only part of the journey that is shaping your character, deepening your faith, and preparing you for what lies ahead. So walk into tomorrow with confidence instead of fear. Let your heart rest in the assurance that God sees every tear, hears every prayer, and understands every silent struggle. Nothing placed in His hands is ever wasted. The peace you have been searching for begins when you trust His direction more than your own understanding. Hold on to hope. Keep your eyes fixed on His promises. And whenever you remember this message, remember this simple truth: God's greatest work is not only changing your circumstances, it is transforming your heart. That transformation is the blessing that no one can take away, and it will guide you into every new season with faith, courage, and unshakable hope. A final reflection remains, and it may be the one your heart needs most. Stay until the end. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. There are blessings that cannot be seen with human eyes until the right moment arrives. God is never in a hurry, yet He is never late. While you have been wondering why certain doors remained closed, He has been protecting you from paths that were never meant for you. While you questioned the silence, He was strengthening your spirit. While you waited for a sign, He was quietly shaping your character. One day you will look back and realize that every delay carried a purpose, every challenge carried a lesson, and every season prepared you for something far greater than you imagined. Never believe the lie that your best days are behind you. God's grace is not limited by your past mistakes, your present struggles, or your unanswered questions. He can bring hope where disappointment once lived. He can replace worry with peace and confusion with wisdom. Don't skip. Stay until the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The person you are becoming through faith is stronger than the person fear tried to keep you as. Keep choosing forgiveness over bitterness. Keep choosing faith over doubt. Keep choosing hope over despair. Every small step of trust becomes part of a much greater story that God is writing with love, patience, and purpose. As this message reaches its final moments, carry this truth into every new day. You are never walking alone. God sees every silent prayer, every hidden tear, every act of faith that no one else notices. Continue moving forward with courage, even when the road is unfamiliar. Continue believing, even when the answers have not yet arrived. Continue trusting, because God's plan is always greater than your expectations. Stay until the very end of the journey He has prepared for you. Don't skip what He is doing in your life. Something huge is waiting for you, and in His perfect time, you will understand that the greatest miracle was not simply what changed around you, but the new heart, lasting peace, and unshakable faith He created within you. Not every victory arrives with applause. Sometimes the greatest victories happen quietly, deep within your heart, where only God can see the transformation taking place. Stay until the end. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. There will come a day when the questions that once kept you awake will no longer have power over you. The worries that once felt overwhelming will become reminders of how faithfully God carried you through. What seems impossible today is never beyond His reach. Every moment of trust, every prayer spoken in faith, and every decision to keep moving forward is preparing you for a future filled with purpose. As you continue this journey, remember that God's love is not based on your perfection but on His unchanging character. He does not abandon you when you stumble. He gently lifts you, teaches you, and invites you to keep walking with Him. The person God is removing is every shadow that keeps you from seeing the light He has already placed before you. Fear does not have the final word. Regret does not have the final word. Disappointment does not have the final word. God's grace speaks louder than every voice that tells you to give up. Don't skip. Stay until the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Your story is still unfolding, and the next chapter can become stronger than every chapter before it. So lift your eyes with hope and keep your heart open to what God is doing, even when you cannot yet understand it. The road ahead may still have challenges, but it will also hold unexpected moments of peace, strength, and joy. Trust that every step taken with faith is leading you closer to His purpose. Hold tightly to His promises, continue walking with courage, and never forget that the greatest surprise was never about what God removed, it was about who you became because you trusted Him. Stay until the end. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you, and the best chapter of your journey is still waiting to be revealed. If this message has stayed with you until now, perhaps it is because your heart has been searching for hope more than answers. Stay until the end. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. God often works in ways that are far beyond our expectations. He does not simply change situations, He changes hearts. He does not only open doors, He prepares the person who will walk through them. That preparation is never wasted. Every quiet moment of faith, every prayer spoken through tears, and every choice to trust instead of fear becomes part of the beautiful story He is writing in your life. Even when you cannot see His hand, you can still trust His heart. One day you will realize that what seemed like a loss was actually loving protection. The delays that frustrated you were shaping your patience. The challenges that tested you were strengthening your faith. The moments of silence were inviting you to listen more closely to God's gentle guidance. Don't skip. Stay until the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The person God is removing is ultimately anything that stands between you and the peace He wants you to experience. As those burdens fall away, you will begin to notice a new confidence, a deeper joy, and a stronger trust that no circumstance can take away. That is the kind of transformation that lasts far beyond a single season. So keep walking with courage. Keep believing when the path is unclear. Keep holding on to hope when the answers have not yet arrived. God has never stopped working for your good, and He will never stop inviting you to grow closer to Him. The story of your life is still being written, and the next page may hold blessings you cannot yet imagine. Stay until the end. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. And when you finally see how every piece of your journey fits together, you will understand that God's greatest gift was not simply changing your circumstances, it was giving you a heart filled with enduring faith, unshakable peace, and lasting hope that will carry you through every season to come. As this journey reaches its final chapter, pause for one last moment and let this truth settle deep within your heart. Stay until the end. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. God has never been absent from your story, not for a single day, not for a single moment. Even when you felt forgotten, He was guiding your steps. Even when your prayers seemed unanswered, He was preparing an answer greater than your expectations. Every season of waiting, every lesson learned through hardship, and every quiet victory has been leading you to this understanding: God's greatest work begins within the heart before it is seen in the world around you. When you leave this message today, do not carry fear with you. Carry faith. Do not carry yesterday's disappointments into tomorrow's opportunities. Carry hope instead. The person God has been removing was never meant to become the focus of your attention. The real miracle is the life He is building inside you, a life filled with courage instead of worry, peace instead of confusion, and trust instead of uncertainty. Don't skip this final reminder. Stay until the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The more you surrender your worries to God, the more room you create for His peace to guide every decision, every relationship, and every step ahead. So step into your next season with confidence, knowing that God is faithful in every promise He has made. Keep your heart open to His wisdom. Keep your eyes fixed on hope. Keep moving forward, even when the road is unfamiliar, because He walks with you every step of the way. One day you will look back and see that nothing was wasted, not the tears, not the waiting, not the uncertainty. Every part of your journey became a testimony of God's love, grace, and faithfulness. Stay until the end. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. The greatest surprise was never about who left your life, it was discovering how close God had been to you all along, gently leading you toward a future filled with purpose, peace, and everlasting hope.